Hey everybody, so I got a request to do a assembly video on the filament scale, so let's get on that. So we have the load cell, HX711 module, the OLED screen, 2 bearings, 2 M5s, 2 M4s, 5 M3s, 10 female-to-female wires, and an ESP32. Alright, so you don't necessarily have to do it in the same order as I am, but this is how I'm going to do it. Now, the HX711 chip, the pins are not so soldered on, so you're going to have to solder these. You're going to want to solder them to, obviously there's only 4 on this side, but on the 5 side, you want the E+, E-, A-, A+. You can skip the B's if you want to. I hate soldering, so I skipped the B's. Next, I've got the ESP32 board screwed in with 2 screws. That's all that's really needed. And I will post a diagram on the reveal page of the ESP32 in case you need to look at the pinouts. You get 10 female-to-female wires in the UFO this month. 4 are for the HX711, 4 are for the LED screen, and then the other 2 you're going to want to cut off about 1.5 inches or so and just twist tie them to the wires on the load cell. I shorten the wires a bit because they come like this long and you don't need them that long. So I just stripped the ends of the wires, twisted them together to put the female ends on the 4 wires of the load cell. And on here, this is going to connect to the HX711 on the top here. What you're going to want to do is put the red wire of the load cell into E+, and put the black on E-. Put the white on A-, and the green on A+. Now, I watched a video that says the order of the white and green doesn't matter, but another video that I watched, or the Brainy Bit, had me put the white and the green in that order. And then you're going to want to connect 4 wires to the data, clock, VCC, and ground side. Get in there. Why are you not getting in there? There we go. And then as far as the connection goes, you're going to want to put I think the blue is the VCC. Yeah, blue is VCC. So we're going to connect those to, if you're looking with the USB port this way, on this side, these first 2 pins are VIN and ground. And so you're going to want to stick the VIN to the VCC. That's a 5-volt connection. And then the ground on the ground. And the green and yellow is Make sure you got the order right on here. So the yellow is the clock. The yellow, or the clock pin on the ESP32 is pin 18, which is the 7th pin down on this left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the data pin, we're using pin 18, which is right next to it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can put the green. Well, your colors of your wires may be different, so just make sure the clock is on 18 and the data is on 19. And then we've got the OLED screen, which has an SDA, SCL, ground, and VIN. I think it's actually VCC on here as well. So we'll stick 4 pins on the OLED. And look, see which one is your VCC and ground. So the ground is, I really should have grabbed my glasses. So it's ground, VCC, SCL, and SDA, if I read that correctly. Let me get my magnifying glass. Yep, SCL and then SDA. So for the ground, actually I'm going to switch my colors around because I want my black over here. So the black and white on this wire is going to be the ground and VCC. So we will put on this, we're going to put them on these bottom 2 left side. This is a 3 volt and a ground. So we're going to put the ground to ground and the 3 volt to the VCC of the OLED screen. Okay. Then we've got 2 other wires for the SCL and the SDA. And the SCL is pin 22 on the board. Let me make sure. Where's my magnifying glass? Alright, SCL is going to be the 3rd wire over, which is the gray. So we'll put that on pin 22. It's the 2nd pin down from the top. And then the SDA is pin 21, which is 2 pins down and right next to the other 2 pins that we put in. I know the numbers on this board make no sense. You'd think they'd be in order, but they're not. So you have the SCL, SDA, the data pin for the HX711, the clock pin for the HX711, the ground pin for the OLED, the 3.3 volt to the OLED, and then on this side we have the ground for the HX711 and the 5 volt for the HX711. And wiring is complete. So now we will do some assembly. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. Yeah, ignore my mess of soldering wires and shrink tube lighters. Alright, so you also get these bearings in the UFO. This piece is printed in 2 halves. I did that so you wouldn't have to do anything with supports. So it just pressure fits the bearings to hold the two sides together, and they just push on there. We're going to go ahead and mount some of this stuff. Now this base and these legs, you may be wondering why these legs have this over here. Well, this is because when I was going through the iterations, this was kind of wobbly, so I added that piece on there just to make that a little less wobbly. And instead of making, just to add strength, instead of making this thing too thick, I just made it like 5 millimeters and then added these ridges here to add some strength on the side that the spool is going to go on. Now on this load cell you will see that there are M4 sizes and M5 sizes. The M5 sizes are going to go on the base, and I have these little spacers that I added, so you want to put that in between the base and the load cell. So grab your M5s, slide one in there, slide the spacer through, and then this thing has an arrow. You want that arrow pointing down. Got clips falling out. And then on the M4 side, we have another spacer. Oops. These nuts are slippery. Oop. And I'm hitting my cable. And this will go into the holder for the spool barrel. Don't have a lot of room below my camera, so let's just put these on here like this. Get one started. We'll tighten it all the way so you can still line everything up. Also, thank you to KB3D for this awesome hex driver. Alright, so then, didn't I already zoom out? Holy moly. I don't know if I can zoom out much more. And then the spool goes right in there. But we're not done yet. You need to find your two clips and put them in there. Actually, I forgot. I only put one side in at a time. So we'll wait on that a sec. Now the OLED screen, I've got a channel over here, and you can just push these wires down. I've got a channel over here for the OLED screen. I actually have one on both sides, so that if you wanted to turn the spool holder around, you could. And then initially I had planned on pressure fitting this OLED screen, but it didn't work out quite well. So it is kind of a little odd angle, but it should fit in here. If you need some tolerance changes, let me know and I will work on that for you. But you want to get this lined up with the hole on the top. And get that turned down in there. You don't have to tighten it all the way right now. And then the OLED screen will slide in right behind it. And we'll push all the way down to where it's flat. And these pins here, you can see I have them bent just a little bit. Not quite a 45, but you can bend them a little bit. That's just so it doesn't knock into the HX711 mount. Once you got the OLED in there, you can go ahead and tighten this bolt down. Now the HX711 goes on the back of the base here. As you can see, I tried doing Lego connections, and then I thought, well, some people's tolerances aren't going to allow for that. So I just have one side that's kind of a dip just to keep it in place, and you only have to mount it with one bolt. But you can put the HX711 up here. I should have did that first, but I wanted the wires to be able to freely move around while I was wiring up. I feel that wiring things before mounting them is easier for me. And then this goes right under the top wires. Am I even on camera here? This goes right under the top wires and it should fit perfectly. And then line up the hole and screw it in. So the bolt holds it down and the little knob keeps it from twisting. And then you can push all your little wires up under here just to get them out of the way. Push all these wires up in here, get them out of the way. And now back to the clips. So these clips is an idea I stole from DSK. And thank you, Fernando, for coming up with this clip idea. I just think it's easier to open and close stuff. So the first clip I stuck through already. I will just push this in here. And then I find that it's easier to align the hole this way once one is clipped in. Make sure it's placed correctly. And then this will just slip in as well. And as far as assembly goes and wiring, we are done. All that's left is the coding, which if you click the link to the code on the reveal page, you will see all the troubles I went through to get this thing to work. I don't think I have a power cord over here. Oh, wait, is this one? Yes it is. So I'll go ahead and show you. This one's already coded. Now when you first plug it in, it zeroes out in the code. That's the tear. It automatically zeroes out the system as soon as you start it, so you don't want to start with a weight on here. And then as you apply pressure, you will see the grams change. And let's see, we'll get a spool off the shelf here. And I did calibrate this using my kitchen scale, and everything seemed to be correct. Calibration was the biggest pain in the butt, to be honest with you, besides the soldering. But let me show you what happens if you start with a weight on here. Let me put that spool back on. Now if you start with a weight on, it zeroes out with that weight on. So then when you take the weight off, it goes to negative of what the weight of the spool was. You definitely don't want that. There's probably a better way to do it in the code. I'm not sure. But I like zeroing it out as I power it on. So that is the filament scale project for March 2024. If anybody has any questions, I tried to explain as much as I could in the code. If anybody has any questions, please let me know.